My name is Anastasia, my brand is called Nuit, and you're watching Talentell. Nuit is a menswear and women's wear brand with a minimalist, sort of avant-garde aesthetic. I try to create things that look handmade because they are handmade. Garments that stand apart from mass-produced or commercial clothing. So I try to bring artistry into everything. I tend to focus more on finer materials and less on costs, I guess. So the manufacturing costs are really secondary to me, and it's more about the final item and kind of the dream and the fantasy that surrounds it, the sort of like mythical world that I think it should exist in. The brand has a darker aesthetic, and I try to keep things simple by using a lot more textures than I use colors. I tend to mainly work in black, but if I bring colors into it, they'll be in one kind of area of the color wheel. So it's only like grays or blues in one season, or if I bring in earth tones, it's going to be like greens. I tend to look for people who have a similar vision or kind of tend to have an eye for a simple, dark beauty. Generally, I love black and white photography. I love photographers who also use experimental or vintage photographic techniques, whether it's like vintage cameras or different lighting techniques. Things that tend to, especially if I'm shooting for a more editorial vibe, things that create an atmosphere for the clothes. So somebody who has a vision and a style that will be compatible with mine, and tend to give an aura to the clothes so that they aren't existing in this kind of everyday world, but they tend to transcend into a different kind of ethereal world. I really love interesting faces, and I love a very kind of fairy tale look. Nice. With, you know, girls with dark hair or light skin, you know, specific kind of interesting features, or just something that kind of draws the eye. I tend to love long hair. I think you can do a lot with it. It just depends on the person. Like, there isn't a specific look, but there is a certain elegance that I think people carry themselves with, and that really translates in how they feel in my clothes. I think for me, Talentell would be and is a great way of finding people to collaborate with in my area. So it's not, I mean, you can see talent from all over the world, but it's always great to encounter someone from your own city that you never even knew was working here and is amazing. And it's such a great, I don't know, means of doing that. I don't think there's really anything else out there except for like word of mouth that brings people together in a city like that, especially people who are, you know, at a professional level.